Yo, what's up, my wrestling peeps? It's your boy E here with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just to kind of dig right on into it, thank you for tuning into the show. We love you guys. We have a great show for you guys lined up. We have our WWE Raw review, WWE NXT preview. We also talk WrestleMania is going to Las Vegas, so should be pretty exciting to see what they have in store in terms of like the wrestling world and stuff like that. Also, finally capping it off, we have our Tuesdays today in wrestling history. Well, before we go any further, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link. We get a number of questions that come in during the show from viewers like you. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you guys to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. Just put your questions up on top of the list so I can see it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to further talk about. Give me your predictions, projected storylines, etc., etc. And it really helps the show, guys. A positive review goes a long way. So again, the link is the GSMC, podcast.net. So let's go ahead and get on with our first segment. We're going to talk about WWE Monday Night Raw. Sorry, excuse me. So it turned out Drew McIntyre has not been medically cleared to compete in the WWE Men's King of the Ring, which is kind of a curveball, but it's one of those curveballs. Well, okay, cool. Now we have like kind of like some mysterious, some mysterious factor to it. It's kind of mystique, you know what I mean? So. Also, I just wanted to mention that when Judgment Day started the show coming out, you saw Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough, along with their leader, Damian Priest. When Damian Priest was talking, you saw them looking behind and ultimately kind of leading toward a betrayal kind of thing, like just waiting for the perfect time to strike against the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So I thought that was pretty crazy. But he did kind of throw a curveball when he apologized to the Judgment Day. He apologized. He said, "I'm sorry and thank you so much." He said, uh, to Finn Balor that he's my brother and stuff like that. Pretty cool. I like it how they're still kind of, WWE's like muddying up the waters. Like you want to see clearly that there's going to be a breakup between the Judgment Day and the betrayal and stuff like that. But you may never know. It is professional wrestling. This is what makes professional wrestling so profound is that, the art of unpredictability. So, if they're kind of, heading toward that way, 110%, that's going to be totally awesome. But I think they did a pretty good job. But ultimately, I still think they're going to break up. I don't want to break any of your guys' Judgment Day fans' hearts out there, but, just being real. So once when Drew McIntyre was announced that he was not medically cleared, Finn Balor automatically assumed that, hey, get first round bye. And then they're all celebrating the Judgment Day. And then, of course, Adam Pearce comes out, WWE Raw general manager, comes out and he said, no first round bye. Guess what? Jey Uso. Main event Jey Uso against Finn Balor again. Ultimately, it was a good match. It was a really, really good match, but Jey picked up the one with the spear. Drew McIntyre even came out to try to blur the lines and try to distract Jey Uso, but ultimately it was, to no avail. And then they showed Becky Lynch in the stadium. Kind of cool to see the WWE World's Women's Champion, World's Heavyweight Champion. I thought that was pretty cool. Obviously, Becky Lynch, she has a main match going into Saudi Arabia, a King and Queen of the Ring. She's going to fight Liv Morgan. So, definitely excited to see that. You can just see Drew McIntyre has lost it. Drew McIntyre has completely lost it. He really honestly doesn't know. He doesn't know the world of wrestling that doesn't include CM Punk. Does that make sense? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so usually when it comes to the antagonist and the face, or the antagonist playing the heel in this situation, you don't really necessarily think of Drew McIntyre as a heel. I know I don't. I know he's trying to like do it like where he's yelling at the crowd and this and that and the other. But he's just one of those superstars that are trying to bank on the fact that he did kind of get screwed, but then again, like I said in the past podcast before, that if Drew McIntyre was a responsible champion, he would have knew that Judgment Day's Damian Priest was lurking in the back with the money in the case briefcase. And ultimately, he ignored that fact, went over and talked to Punk. Punk attacked him at WrestleMania 40, ultimately costing him his chance of still being the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And of course, you saw Drew McIntyre drive off angrily in a actually pretty sweet car, pretty nice car. And then CM Punk showed up after. He waited for Drew McIntyre, and it was just, I don't know, it was just kind of funny. Then you saw the QR code once again for the Uncle Howdy promotion. But CM Punk came out and he was talking about how at the Royal Rumble, how Drew McIntyre tore his tricep and it delayed his WrestleMania dreams. But at the same time, it did and it didn't. He's still going to be in WWE. He's going to work really, really hard. CM Punk's going to have to, definitely rehab that injury. There's no doubt in my mind that you're going to see the cult of personality definitely on the main stage in Las Vegas, WrestleMania 41. So that should be pretty awesome to look, excited about. And I don't know, it was crazy. It was crazy. And then he had this to say. CM Punk said, "You try so hard to be me. You are essentially trying to be the CM Punk of WWE. So, Drew, do you hate me or do you hate yourself?" So I thought that was pretty deep. Definitely something that Drew McIntyre has been doing. Like when CM Punk wasn't here in the WWE, when he was still with AEW, he was kind of like that. Just to stand up to everyone, all things that were wrong. He spoke out about it, and he was a worthy champion. Drew McIntyre was a great champion, but ultimately, like he fell short. But I don't know. Like it said, Drew McIntyre has done so much to the point where CM Punk says it's unforgiving consequences for his actions that are ultimately going to lead to his demise, which is, pretty accurate, pretty spot on in terms of CM Punk. So, he mentioned something about Glasgow with the Clash at the Castle. Should be interesting. So, moving on, we have our first, the WWE Women's Queen of the Ring qualifying match. Well, not qualifying match, kind of like bracket match or something like that. First round. We'll just say first round. We get Io Sky versus Natalia. Once again, I, kind of mentioned in a prior podcast that it would make no sense for Natalia to win, especially when they're trying to groom her up to kind of be like in that NXT role. Definitely think Natalia is going to be definitely one of the names that are going to be in that ladder match in terms of battleground for the WWE Women's NXT North American Championship. I'm 1,010% sure I said that wrong, but well, I think Natalia, she's a shoo-in. She's a shoo-in to that match. Will they put the strap on her? Not, I'm not too sure if they're gonna put the belt on Natalia, but ultimately, I love the way she is. She's obviously a cold-hearted veteran, could teach young superstars a lot, especially in the ring. So I think it's beneficial for NXT to have Natalia on their rosters. So I was kind of glad to see that she wasn't able to pick up a victory. Of course, I still feel bad. I'm like, oh man, it sucks. When you lose a match, it sucks. But ultimately, I like seeing Natalia down in the NXT. So good for Io Sky. She wins. Damage control, putting people on notice. Oscar turned out to be injured. Didn't know that. She was definitely one of my. She was one of my heavy hitters, man. She was. I had high hopes for her. I definitely had high hopes for her winning this Queen of the Ring. She's injured. Ultimately, her place was taken by Dakota Kai. Fight breaks out where Becky Lynch was attacked by Damage Control. Well, at first it was kind of like a standoff between Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, and then Damage Control came out, and then Liv Morgan bailed, leaving Becky all by herself. But none other than the former WWE NXT Women's Champion, Lyra Valkyria, came out, and she ultimately helped Becky. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then that's when the match, officially began, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Next, we have the Mad Dragon. The Mad Dragon, Ilya Dragunov, fought Ricochet for the first round of the men's King of the Ring. I thought it was a great match. It was definitely, like I said before, definitely keep your eye on this match for potentially being the kind of like the heart stopper, kind of like the showstopper of the show. And it really did. It really did. It proved dividends. And it was an amazing match. Probably one of the best matches that was on the featured match card in terms of the, WWE Raw. But ultimately, you can't have those two superstars move on. Sucks. Love Ricochet, the new WWE Speed Champion. But it was time for Ilya Dragunov to spread his wings, make it to the second round, and I'm for it. I thought that was definitely pretty cool. Next, we have Ivy Nile in the first round of the WWE Women's Queen of the Ring. Ivy Nile against Zoe Stark. this kind of turned out the way I kind of thought it was going to. That it started off a little slow. It started off like both these women were kind of testing the waters to see how both of them fight, their fighting style and stuff like that. But it came down to Zoe Stark being the professional she is, having her experience, and Ivy Nile. One of those matches, once again, where kind of like if you lose, you still kind of win. You put up a good match against Zoe Stark, 1,010% of the time you're going to get recognized. And with that experience, could help you move forward, could help you get a lot better, especially in the terms of WWE. So good for, good and bad for Ivy Nile, but she ain't going nowhere. Definitely think that her and Maxine Dupree should, you know, try to challenge Bianca and Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. I think that's kind of like more their range and division. But should be interesting to see where WWE takes them. Next, you saw UConn head coach Dan Hurley. UConn college basketball, they won back-to-back national championships. You saw WWE World Tag Team Champs looking for new competitors. Should be, definitely something for the R-Truth is going to happen within the next, next SmackDown for sure, just so they can get a match at Saudi Arabia, King and Queen of the Ring. And then you saw Chad Gable. Chad Gable fought Bronson Reed in a one-on-one match. A lot of turmoil between Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, and Bronson Reed. Sami Zayn broke up the match. He broke it up. He went in, and he was just absolutely frustrated, absolutely pissed off, and and another one, I know we're running out of time. Carlito tries to join the Judgment Day. I thought that was pretty funny. Damian Priest was like, all right, get him out of here. And Dominic Mysterio kind of wants him to come in. There could be maybe a circumstance where Carlito comes in as like a replacement for Damian Priest. Not like a replacement, because nobody could replace Senor Money in the Bank. But I think that this is kind of like building up for like a Finn Balor to be kind of the leader and kind of keeping that fourth guy in Judgment Day. So it wouldn't surprise me if you see Carlito, break that barrier and find himself in the Judgment Day bond between Dominic Mysterio, Carlito, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough. So it wouldn't surprise me there. They also announced that there's going to be 2 matches in terms of the King and Queen of the Ring at the live events. You're going to see Kofi Kingston fight Rey Mysterio. And then I believe from the women's side, you're going to see Zelina fight. Oh, man, I can't believe I forgot. Queen Zelina defending her crown. Hopefully she wins. If she doesn't, not a big deal. Still talented. So, yeah. Kofi Kingston took Xavier Woods' spot, kind of like what we were talking about, how he took a beating from Gunther, but Kofi Kingston came in to help his former friend, well, not his former friend, his current friend, his best buddy, the New Day, of course. And next week we have Jay Uso against Ilya Dragunov, Lyra Valkyria against Zoe Stark, and then the main event featured Sheamus versus Gunther. Kind of knew how this match was going to go. Gunther got a little help from Ludwig Kaiser, but we all knew that eventually Gunther was going to find a way to win, and he did. Not taking anything away from him. That's what happens in professional wrestling. Sometimes you get a little help from your friends. So yeah, well, don't go anywhere. We're gonna continue with the show. Segment 2, WWE NXT preview. So hey, don't go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is Is everybody in the world blind?
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just going to reflect on what we talked about real quick. Our segment one, we talked about WWE Monday Night Raw. And now we're going to move on to our WWE NXT preview. But before we move forward, before we go on and start any more wrestling talk, I'm going to remind you guys that we get a number of questions that come in during the show from viewers like you. So to ensure that your show gets read on air, I ask you guys to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. Just put your questions up on top of the list so I can see it, so we can talk about it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to talk about. Ultimately, this is the People's Podcast. The GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast is full of wrestling fans, and wrestling fans are probably one of the best fandoms in the world. As you can see, over 180 countries watch the WWE. It's definitely worldwide. And, once again, it really does help the show, guys. A positive review. Again, the link is the GSMC podcast.net. All right, so let's move on to WWE NXT preview, which is happening as we speak live on the USA Network. The WWE NXT, this is going to have a lot of kind of like stipulations and kind of like a little more, they're trying to build momentum toward Battleground, and they're going to have it at the UFC Apex Center in Nevada. So I think this is definitely going to be some of the best NXT promoting, which NXT does a phenomenal job already. It's not like they have to prove themselves just because they're inside the arena where the UFC guys fight. Like, I don't think that's such a big deal at all. I know that comment might be a little skeptical, but to be honest, I feel like WWE wrestlers are making their way out to Nevada, and we're going to talk about it in our next segment. We're talking about how WrestleMania 41 is going to be in Las Vegas, but let's kind of focus on this right now. Start with this NXT preview. Like I said, building momentum toward Battleground. June 9th, UFC Apex Center in Enterprise, Nevada. Should be pretty cool. We had summer spring break in. We had NXT spring break in week 2 that happened. It was great. They had great ratings, which I love because WWE NXT has worked hard, definitely in terms of the women's division. I think that the women's division is ultimately carrying these men's superstars, which is great, because in the past it was like women's matches in WWE barely got, someone barely batted an eyelash at it. And now that they're main eventing, events and shows and, live, it's great. It's cool. Absolutely groundbreaking. These women deserve it. Definitely. So you had Chelsea Green challenge Roxanne Perez during spring break in week 2. So they're going to fight tonight. Green has yet to win a singles championship in WWE. Will she win her WWE's first singles championship tonight? Maybe. Me putting a prediction on the match, not too sure, but I know this is Roxanne Perez's second reign as the WWE NXT Women's Championship, and it's been very, very challenging so far. I think ultimately my prediction is going to be, it's going to be a great match. It's going to go, I want to say it's going to go around 8 to 10 minutes. I think it's going to be a great match. Chelsea is ultimately going to prove. I don't think she's going to pick up the victory against Perez. I still think it's relatively too soon, because if you think about it, if Chelsea Green wins the NXT championship in the women's division, it's just like where does this all branch out now? So does Chelsea Green continue to play the heel role that she's been playing on WWE Monday Night Raw? Perhaps, maybe. I don't know. But right now, Roxanne Perez is, I don't know. She's tough. She's definitely tough. Absolutely. If I had a wrestling promotion with the women's division, I would love to put Roxanne Perez up on top, holding the championship, holding high regards. Definitely think that she's at the exact spot where she should be right now. And I think the WWE as an organization is, really good when they have wrestlers like that. Represent. I'm not just talking about the women's division, the men's division as well. Champion, Intercontinental Champion, United States, WWE Tag Team, WWE World Heavyweight, yada yada yada. Right now, I feel like everybody holding a title represents it very, very, very well. And so, thus, I feel like WWE is doing pretty good in the booking under the Paul Levesque era. Definitely hope to keep it up because, as a fan, falling in love with wrestling over and over again is absolutely dope. That's what it's all about. It's sports entertainment at its finest, and they're knocking it out of the park right now. So definitely think Perez is going to win. This is going to be one of those matches where Chelsea Green, she's going to lose, but it's going to be like a match where you lose, but you really kind of win. I think this match is going to show Chelsea Green as a formidable future WWE NXT Women's Champion, perhaps, but I don't know. I'm for it. I think it's going to be pretty badass. Next, we have Wes Lee making his return to NXT last week. He has his eyes on the North American Championship. Wes Lee has the longest streak in the title's history, 269 days. And of course, you have Obafemi, absolutely dominant, absolutely crazy, crazy athletic guy, enthusiastic, definitely definitely has what it takes to maintain this championship reign. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. He has the ninth longest reign with 118 days. So tonight we see Wes Lee taking on Josh Briggs tonight on WWE NXT. Don't miss it. It's going to be pretty awesome. It's definitely going to be another reason why this division of the North American division is going to be just absolutely prestigious. Not really outshining what's going to happen with the heavyweight championship in NXT because we're still looking for that competitor for Trick Williams. I know, tonight he's going to be on Noam Dar's show. Should be interesting to see what they have to say, but who knows. Next, I have the NXT Women's North American Championship Combine starts tonight. Recently, I think it was like 2 weeks to like a month ago, Ava announced that the WWE NXT will be holding a combine to determine the inaugural the Women's North American NXT Championship, and I think that's great. I think that's perfect. That's something you definitely should do. Have kind of like a secondary title there for the mid carders. Not trying to trounce on anybody's capabilities here, but having more titles into it, that kind of keeps things afloat, to be honest, like just because Logan Paul holds the United States Championship, and the United States Championship hasn't really been as prestigious as the WWE Undisputed Championship, doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to look at it as like a match that's just like going to be one of those throwaway matches. You put a title in a title bout in a match between two dudes that are going to give their 110%, because ultimately it's not the title in general that just you throw it into a pool of wrestlers and you're like, hey guys, guess what? This is going to be the title you guys love now. I hope you like it. The superstars themselves make this title prestigious. So definitely the inaugural champion of the NXT Women's North American Championship. They're going to have some large shoes to fill. Definitely going to have to represent that brand really, really well. And Raw right now, the women that they have on their roster, it's no surprise, and they're definitely going to do the job, passing with flying colors. So definitely should be cool. It's gonna main event this year's Battleground. 12 women ultimately will compete for a chance at a ladder match at WWE NXT Battleground at the UFC Apex Center. 6 competitors move on. 6 competitors will move on. As we get more into this, we can make predictions, but as of right now, I don't really know some of the girls that are competing. I can kind of see maybe a couple of like shock factors, coming in. I honestly think that since Natalia lost the Queen of the Ring, she's definitely going to, make her way in competing for one of those spots. And it wouldn't surprise me to see if she finds it. But so far, for sure, entrants have been Michin, Soruka, Ariana Grace, and Jada Parker, So should be pretty cool. Next tonight we have Karma Petrovic against Shayna Baszler. We have the Supernova sessions with Trick Williams. We're going to find out what's in that envelope. Does it consist of something incriminating about whoop that Trick Williams, or maybe it's a letter or something like we don't know. We don't know. Should be interesting to find out what it is. And we have Michin against Ariana Grace tonight. Probably for, a spot to find out who is going to the UFC Apex Center Battleground. Well, guys, don't go anywhere. Hope you guys like segment 2. We're going to talk about WrestleMania 41 heading to the luxurious. All we want is- Don't go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just to kind of reflect on what we talked about our WWE Monday Night Raw review. It was pretty hectic tonight on Monday Night Raw. Definitely with a lot of King and Queen of the Ring stipulations, predictions, and definitely some turmoil and momentum to kind of build towards Saudi Arabia. We kind of finished it off. Our last segment, we talked about our WWE NXT preview for tonight. It's live as we speak. Can't wait to watch it. Definitely going to be sending you guys some live updates on YouTube about my opinions and stuff like that. And don't be afraid to comment. Don't be afraid to Superman punch that like and subscribe button. So, definitely without further ado, let's go ahead and move on. Obviously, if you guys have something to say, use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. But let's talk WrestleMania. So ultimately, WrestleMania found its way to the entertainment capital of the world in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely awesome. I love that WWE made this move. I think it's fabulous. WWE officially announced, Tony Khan announced that they will be holding the WrestleMania 41 at Allegiant Stadium Saturday, April 19th and Sunday, April 20th, 2025. And I think it's exciting. I think it's really, really great. Allegiant Stadium is a huge stadium. And because of the reasons why they got so many viewers from WrestleMania 40, I feel like they're going to knock this one out of the park as well. Definitely going to be one of the biggest WrestleManias in history, solely because you're following it up after the greatest WrestleMania 41 ever recorded in WrestleMania history. And second of all, dude, it's Las Vegas. Wrestling fans are everywhere. Las Vegas makes no difference. So, and to be honest, like Vegas guys, it's not like this is their first time, at the, at the Big Apple or at, et cetera, et cetera. Ultimately, like you see Las Vegas a lot in terms of wrestling. This is actually the second time that WrestleMania will be held in Las Vegas. The first time, it was April 4th, 1993, WrestleMania 9 at Caesars Palace. The attendance was 16,891 people. The arena made it look like a Roman Coliseum. WWE raved about the theme of Caesar Augustus and the Caesars Palace. And debuting announcer Jim Ross actually wore a toga, which was actually pretty cool. Ring announcer Howard Finkel was known as Fincus Maximus for today. Definitely really, really cool the way they did that. And this was the first WrestleMania that they held outdoors. Definitely, that's pretty cool. You saw Yokozuna challenge Bret Hart for the WWF Championship. Yokozuna, came out victorious. Hulk Hogan returned to team with Brodus Beefcake to challenge the WWF Tag Team Champions. Money Inc. with Ted DiBiase and Erwin R. Shysta. You saw Hulk Hogan and Beefcake lose that match. Ultimately, wasn't what you thought it was going to be. Hulk Hogan actually ended up fighting an impromptu wrestling match with Yokozuna that lasted only 22 seconds, with Hulk Hogan winning, having him put the strap on him. That's Hulk Hogan right there. Hulkamania, you know. Also, Shawn Michaels retained his Intercontinental Championship match that night, and The Undertaker fought the Giant Gonzalez. So, obviously, WrestleMania has been in Vegas before, but not exactly, because I guess it didn't really do too well with audience members, but, ultimately, yeah, that's the way it kind of did it. But what I kind of wanted to talk about more or less is just that Las Vegas as an entity, especially with the sports entertainment industry heading over there. Like I said before, Las Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world. Definitely no surprise there. Um, I think Las Vegas is definitely going to be it's a huge demographic. When you put an event in Las Vegas, so many people could be like, "Oh, that just gives me an excuse to go to Las Vegas." Like, you know what I mean? Like, yes and no. And wrestling fans are like, "Oh, like I would fly to go see WrestleMania in New Orleans. Oh yeah, the city's nice, the food's nice, the dancing, the singing, Mardi Gras, etc., etc." But you can't be upset in Vegas. Like you can, there's a whole people do different types of Vegas. Like you have the frat boys, the party guys. They want to go to the club, and all that stuff. And then you have the parents that they go with the kids and stuff like that, take them to the pool, take them to kid friendly shows. They have circus over there. And then as soon as the kids, like, you bring the grandma as like a babysitter, and then when they're down for their nap, you go ahead and go to the spa. That I think Caesar's Palace has a pretty good spa actually. I would love to go try it out, but I'm not a spa kind of guy. So this was built on the success of WrestleMania 40 at the Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, with a crowd of 100,450, 298 wrestling fans in attendance over 2 nights. That's huge, guys. That's absolutely insane. WrestleMania delivers more than $200 million in economic impact for cities that host the event. So, Vegas, you're gonna get richer and richer, man. Um, Ultimately, recent partners with the UFC, which is no surprise. Um, the UFC host events in Vegas all the time, from the Apex Center to the T-Mobile Arena, also the Mandalay Bay. The UFC has held about 40 events each year, with at least more than half appearing in Nevada / Las Vegas. So, no surprise that they, since that merger with TKO and Endeavor, that they're going to be in Vegas a little more. But you honestly can't really blame WWE for following the trend of their newly partnership. The stadium in Allegiant Stadium has held Super Bowl 58 last year, the 2021 CONCACAF Gold Cup Final, the NFL Draft in 2022, WWE SummerSlam 2021, and also we had the NBA in-season tournaments, semifinals and finals at the T-Mobile Arena, and it's set to host the Final Four championship for college basketball in 2028. So a lot of big things happening in the world of sports. Las Vegas has rapidly become the biggest sports city in the nation, or maybe even the world. Like, it's insane what Vegas is doing right now. Vegas has recently brought sports like the Golden Knights in 2017, the Las Vegas Aces 2018. Their dominant reign's probably going to continue. They're back-to-back champs, and under the coach Becky Hammon, I don't really see that going anywhere. They also hosted Formula One's Grand Prix. They're going to host it again in November, so it should be pretty cool. NASCAR Las Vegas Motor Speedway recently bringing the Las Vegas Raiders, kind of flirting with the Athletics, although the Athletics aren't really, kind of committing at the moment. And they are in talks with bringing an NBA team to Las Vegas, Nevada. Definitely should be pretty cool. Definitely a lot of crazy things that are going to go on in Las Vegas in the future. Definitely looking forward to that. Las Vegas, people love going there. People love going there. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, people, like, I wouldn't want to go there. Like, I went there for my bachelor party, but that's not what this podcast is going to be about. I'm just kidding. But ultimately, WrestleMania 41 is heading to Las Vegas. Las Vegas has quickly become a prestigious venue, a prestigious city to hold any event in terms of concerts, in terms of performances. You have live performances every night. I don't know if any of you guys like drove on I think it's the 15 freeway. You see the Spear and stuff like that. I heard they have a great U2 show that happens in there. I heard it's like unreal, absolutely unreal. They put on great shows. I think even the Mandalay Bay has like a zoo or something like that. Like, and of course you have the Thunder from Down Under. I'm just kidding. All right, let's move on before I say anything too crazy. So, all right, Vegas, baby, Vegas. Well, guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to finish up with our Tuesdays today in wrestling. We're going to talk about some cool stuff that happened in the world of wrestling on this specific day, May 7th. And yeah, so hey, don't go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about. We had our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We also had our WWE NXT preview. And we talked a little bit about Las Vegas sports. WrestleMania 41 is going to be at Allegiant Stadium. Pretty exciting. Mentioned some events that took place in Las Vegas. Honestly, love that Las Vegas is kind of becoming more sports friendly. I know for the longest time they didn't want to introduce anything in terms of sports in Las Vegas. I know it's crazy. I read this online that Las Vegas, they were forbidden. They were forbidden for having any Super Bowl commercials happen during last Super Bowl because the NFL didn't want their fans to like see like betting, it's gambling references and stuff like that, which is pretty crazy because they like I said, they have spas. They also have I think there's like golf stuff. There's a lot of shows and stuff like that. I thought that was insane. But then again, you kind of have to protect your audience and your superstars because I can imagine there was that guy from the NBA who got banned for basically betting on himself, and you can do that. That's the whole scandal with Shohei Ohtani going on right now. But this is a sports entertainment podcast. We're focusing on wrestling. If you want to hear all the hottest takes in sports, we have Jeremy. We also have TJ, and the list goes on and on and on. You can hit them up. Amazing podcasters. Definitely can learn a lot from them, and it's free. So okay. Anyways, moving on. So we're going to talk about our Tuesdays today in wrestling. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead and get this. Let's get this through. We have WWE NXT to watch. Excited. So let's go ahead and start off today in wrestling history. We have Scott Hall. Scott Hall, or Razor Ramon, was actually released from the WWE, and it was stated that after a flight back home from the UK, he showed a pattern of unprofessional behavior. So ultimately, he was let go by the WWE. Ultimately, back 2002. After Invasion, after really honestly, Scott Hall really had nowhere to go. I think, and don't quote me on this, I think I might have seen him go to TNA Wrestling after this happened. But I think that was a little along the lines of like 2004 or 6. Like I said, don't quote me on that. I definitely got to do a little more research about that. So, definitely that happened today. What also happened today was in 2005, Ring of Honor held its first ever event in New York City called Manhattan Mayhem. You saw the Rottweilers, which consist of Homicide and Low Key, defeating Samoa Joe and Jay Lethal. Earlier in the pay-per-view, you saw Samoa Joe defeat Jay Lethal with the win of the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. You also saw Austin Aries retain the Ring of Honor World Championship against Alex Shelley. So it's so crazy. Like, oh my God, look how young Austin Aries looks. Like that. that just trips me out, bro. That just trips me out. All right, and then in 2017, it was reported that the Undertaker suffered some muscle tears that happened the week prior, leading for him to take time off and for physical rehab and stuff like that. Therefore, WWE put Edge in a match against the Money in the Bank winner Ken Kennedy, and kind of sad, kind of crazy, but Edge won in I think 10 seconds. Edge beat him in 10 seconds. I don't know why you wouldn't have Ken Kennedy go in there and cash it in. I know, and this honestly kind of started the whole rated R superstar era as the as the world heavyweight champion. You know what I mean? Like he cashed it against the Undertaker. Like who beats the Undertaker? Like that's crazy, absolutely insane. But Edge, the what is it? The ultimate opportunistic, like ultimate opportunistic of opportunity. I know I'm saying that wrong, and I apologize. But well, I think that this definitely helped Edge in his career of becoming a legendary person, and definitely helping his career. Obviously, he's in AEW now. No, I'm not throwing stones or anything like that. I hope Adam Copeland's doing really, really well. But ultimately, the only reason why he really kind of got it was the Undertaker kind of got injured. I'm sure they were probably going to push him. I'm sure they would probably have pushed him, but man, 10 seconds. Really? Ken Kennedy's going to lose his money? Yeah, okay, that's 2007 talk, guys. What are you talking about? Let's move on from this. Let's move on from this. Today in 1989, the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, held its Wrestling War 89. The main event showed Ric Flair winning the NWA Heavyweight Championship from Ricky, the Steamboat Dragon. I thought that was pretty cool. Also, Michael Hayes defeated Lex Luger, winning the NWA United States Championship. Thought that was pretty cool. Obviously, love Ric Flair. Wish we could focus more a little bit about how NWA definitely helped. I feel like it kind of really, honestly, really did shape the WWE, and of course, from the Jim Crockett Promotions, which eventually became WCW. So and then the NWA is still around, to this day. Definitely going to do a little more research on this because you never know. There could be a superstar in NWA right now that could be the person who dethrones Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship. So you may never know. You may never know. Could happen. Could happen. Next we have 2000 WCW Slamboree. The main event featured WCW champion David Arquette defending his title in a triple threat match, in a triple cage match against Diamond Dallas Page and Double J or Jeff Jarrett. David Arquette turned on his ally Diamond Dallas Page, letting Double J get the win. After the match, Mike Awesome threw Chris Kanyon from the top of the third cage through the stage, and ultimately it kind of left bad taste in the mouths of wrestling fans who attended because Owen Hart died in that same arena almost a year to that day. So I thought that bad timing, bad idea, WCW booking, bad idea, and it was just tragic, definitely tragic. But it happened today on May 7th. So yeah, that was our Tuesdays today in wrestling, and also just a couple of we also have a couple birthdays today. We have Will Ospreay, who was actually born in 1993. I can't believe I'm older than this guy because sometimes I watch him and I'm like, oh my god, that guy looks like he peaked, bro. But I peaked. I'm just kidding. No, like I'm a 1992 baby. Luckily, I was able to kind of soak up a little bit of what the 90s had to offer, especially in terms of cartoons and TV shows and stuff like that. I remember when SpongeBob, made its debut to television, and I totally said that like a wrestling promo guy, like SpongeBob makes his much anticipated debut to Nick. Look, no, just kidding. But no, and I don't know. I just remember TV being a lot better back then. And to be honest, music lately has not been turning me the right way. But like I said, here to talk about wrestling. Here to talk about wrestling. Don't get too crazy. So Will Ospreay's birthday is today. Also, Owen Hart. Owen Hart's birthday is today. So, rest in peace. Uh, definitely still sending prayers to the Hart family. Owen Hart was an amazing individual, great guy to work with. What I've heard from articles and wrestling and stuff like that. If I was a wrestler, that would be pretty cool to work with Owen Hart. I mean, definitely. Um, if I had a bucket list of, if I was a wrestler, I'd be like, oh, definitely a triple threat match with Owen Hart and Bret Hart would be like one of the biggest dream matches. That'd be like, of course I would win. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so happy birthday. Also, happy birthday to LA Smooth. And that's Lloyd Anoa. His cousins are Roman Reigns, Rikishi Umaga, Yokozuna. So, part of the bloodline. So, of course, you had to acknowledge that. So, Tuesdays today in wrestling history is in the history books. Also in the history books is this episode. Thank you guys so much. Hope you guys liked it. Hope I wasn't, hope my brief tardiness didn't, stir any people away. Like I said before, I am a college student. Definitely got done with finals today. Super excited. The only thing that kind of sucked was that it took a little longer than expected. And I got in the car, and of course, in comes the red lights. And I'm like just sitting at the stoplight. Like I'm going crazy, absolutely going crazy. But thank you guys so much for being troopers. Definitely going to be on time and ready to talk about wrestling tomorrow. And guys, don't be afraid to hit that tips and donations link at the GSMC podcast on that, so we can talk about some wrestling. Definitely a lot of things going down in wrestling right now. I would have loved to see what you guys thought about WrestleMania being in Las Vegas, but hopefully we can break off the training wheels of communication and not be a little too shy next time. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to Superman like and subscribe. Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference at the GSMC Sports Network. We love peace, love, and positivity all the way, 1,010%. And we also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter /X, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you guys once again. Like I said, if I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, we have basketball, football, baseball, basically anything under the sun in terms of sports, in terms of entertainment. So don't be afraid to be a part of this bloodline that we have here over at the GSMC podcasting, because like I said before, absolutely free. Check us out on YouTube. We have a bunch of media streaming channels too in audio, like iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, yada yada yada. But yeah, go ahead and give us a shot. So once again, guys, thank you so much, and hey, have a phenomenal night.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool.